What's happening, ladies and gents? Thanks for coming to the Best Five Pack to talk about tonight's NFL Showdown game on DraftKings. We got the Chicago Bears taking on the Los Angeles Rams tonight. Does not appear to line up to be anywhere near as exciting as last night's Sunday Night Football game between Seattle and Arizona. That was a lot of fun to watch. You know, not even just for us DFS degenerates, but for in general for sports fans. It was just a fun game to watch. You know, start to finish. Murray looking good, Russ Wilson looking good. It was. I don't know. I had a good time watching that one. Now, let's break into tonight's action. Got a couple things to bring up before we get into the actual plays of the day. So if you're looking for that, it'll be here shortly. First things first, big day over here for customers and everything like that. So in celebration of that, today and today only, I have a big time sale going on. So as discussed last week, the NFL package for the rest of the season, week 7 through 17, I guess we're going to be more like 8 through 17 now, and the playoffs, cash, GPP, videos, write-ups, primetime, main slate, showdowns, everything that goes along with it has been lowered from the normal price down to $69. For today, on Monday, an additional $20 off on top of that. So your full price would be $49. If you pay through the website, you will receive a $20 reimbursement by the end of the day. If you want to pay manually, my PayPal address is below. You can send it there and I'll hook you up. That is your only payment on the remaining part of the season for the NFL package. The $20 off is only available today, up until midnight. If you're interested, we'd love to have you come join the team. We had a lot of customers do really, really well yesterday, a couple of GPP takedowns. So, this is just in honor of that. It was a fun day. It was the best day of NFL in a while. Let's have a good time. And if you'd like to come join the team for the rest of the season, we'd love to have you. In addition to that, also had a nice day on overlay. We talked about Carson Wentz over Daniel Jones last week. That worked out really, really well. Then Gronk over Evan Ingram ended up coming to fruition very, very early. And for all the parlays of those two run together, ended up paying very well. If you haven't started playing on the overlay matchup shop yet, guys, I would just continue to encourage you to do so. Since the matchup shop came out and you can do these 1v1 type of bets, the website is growing crazy quick because it's fun. It's good time. I find it easy to win. We give a lot of private information on stuff like that as well. If you want to sign up for overlay today and you make a deposit, just screenshot that initial deposit and send it to me. For people who have the money to do it and they want to make a $1,000 deposit, I'll give you a free lifetime membership to the 5-pack. You just going to toss a 50 spot in there, I'll give you a free 2 weeks. Thumbs up is appreciated. Subscribe to the station if you're new to it. So, as per usual on these Showdown videos, let's start with the Kiss Occam's Razor play of the day. The guy that to me makes a lot of sense. Captain, non-captain, do what you want right here. But I would recommend getting Jared Goff into your lineup. So this is not like a crush spot because this game is not a crush game. This is not Kyler Murray or Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers from yesterday or anything like that. This is just a one-game slate where we have really crappy plays to choose from, but we're all on the same playing board right here. So give me Jared Goff, who from a simplistic standpoint, I like him coming off a bad game like last week where he was not good. The Rams weren't good. Nothing about the Rams and him were good last week. So I like the bounce back spot. He's a home favorite. He averages more DFS points than anybody else on the slate. He's easy to afford due to some of the paydown options at your disposal. Give me Jared Goff, and he is a candidate for the captain position in my mind. Next up, my little Cooper Kupp, as Matthew Berry would say. So I think one of the harder things to think about on the Rams is, do you want Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods? Now, it's kind of nice that Brandon Cooks isn't there anymore, so you don't have to try to choose between the three of them, but it's generally you're going to want at least one of these two. And if you can get to both of them, no arguments here. The Bears are good against the pass. They have a good pass rush. That's why I like the slot guy right here. Kupp had a bad game last week. Woods was all right. Not like anything on the Rams was really, really good, but I like them to look for Cooper Kupp early, get those short little patterns to the slot guy, knowing that the Bears and Khalil Mack have a very, very solid pass rush that's not going to allow you to target deep down the field on a regular basis. Kupp is one of my favorite guys on this slate, but like everybody else that I mentioned today, you wouldn't be looking at Cooper Kupp on a main slate. Yesterday, we were just riddled with crush spots by wide receivers. Like, I know my guys, McLaurin, Adams, and Keenan Allen in the main slate were all fantastic, but there was it was easy to be good at wide receiver yesterday, right? Like, it didn't take much. The options were awesome. There was good ones all up and down the board. Obviously, Adams ended up being the best of the bunch, but he was popular for a good reason. Hopkins was great late. That's not the point. You would never be playing Cooper Kupp on yesterday's slate. But it ain't yesterday's slate. It is today's slate. The only two teams we have to choose from are these two teams, and he is one of my favorite options from this specific game. All right, speaking of wide receivers, take a look at Anthony Miller for 2,200. What I'm liking right here is the price tag. He's 2,200. Anthony Miller had a good opening game one. Hasn't done anything too special since then. But we've noticed that Nick Foles has been pretty much locked in on Allen Robinson at all points, right? Like that's his guy. That's his go-to guy. Well, tonight, Robinson gets one of the top, if not the top cornerback in the game, Mr. Jalen Ramsey himself, he's just really, really good. He's going to make life difficult on Allen Robinson. Look for Nick Foles and the Chicago Bears to spread it around a little bit more than normal tonight. And Anthony Miller at 2,200. And if my memory serves me correctly, he's got at least 4 targets in every game this year, so he is involved. He's my favorite paydown guy. In the sample video that I made, I don't think it's the right move, but there are crazy ways to use him as a captain in this game. Not the top way for me to do it, but I'm just saying, like, there are ways that you can play him. He gives you the ability to play almost anybody else you want on the slate. And I do expect him to maybe even see a subtle bump in targets tonight, knowing, like, when you're on one of the best corners in the game, you don't just lock in on Robinson all day long like normal. Ramsey will make his life difficult, so look for Nick Foles to try to spread it around a little bit more. It was, exactly the reason that we like Tyler Lockett so much more than DK Metcalf last night, right? Like, Metcalf is one of my favorite plays in the game, but last night was all about Tyler Lockett. Why? Because he had the easier route to success. That's how I look at Anthony Miller tonight. Now, is Miller going to go for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns? No how, no way. I bet my dogs, my kids, every dollar to my name, you name it, that ain't happening. Not even close. I would be happy if he did a fifth of what Tyler Lockett did last night, and I would find that to be a successful day for Anthony Miller. All right, speaking of the Chicago Bears, I also got Jimmy Graham as somebody that could potentially make my lineup tonight. Look, he's in a weird area of price point, so I don't think he's a must, but I do also think that keeps his ownership down just a little bit. For a lot of the same reasons that we discussed, taking a look at Anthony Miller, look at Jimmy Graham. Robinson is the guy on this offense, right? He's their best offensive player by a decent margin. He gets a lot of the work. He gets a ton of the targets. Graham has been their big man within the red zone. As a Packer fan, I have enjoyed watching how they used Graham in the red zone and wondered why we didn't do some of the things that they are doing with him. Again, Graham is not what he once was, but he's still a giant, and he's a guy that you can throw jump balls to and whatnot. So he's a red zone focal point, and I kind of expect the Bears to get behind in this game. I believe they're 6-point dogs. Rams were bad last week, so I expect a better week of practice from them, and I expect them to come out and play a lot better right here. And I think he could potentially be even better between the 20s tonight because, again, Robinson might be taken out of the game just a little bit, or at least not targeted quite as often. I'm sure Robinson will find a way to get a few points, but I don't think he's going to blow up today, and they're going to have to move the ball somehow. You can run a little bit on the Rams, but let's not pretend like David Montgomery has been overly inspiring or anything like that. So I think Graham's got a good chance to score a touchdown tonight, and maybe he'll be a little bit more effective between the 20s than normal. All right, last up, Malcolm Brown. So this is what I would call a GPP play. And the reason for that being is he is not the number 1 running back on this team. He appears to be number 2 on the depth chart right now, behind Henderson, but above Cam Akers. However, despite the fact that Cam Akers saw no touches last week, would anybody here be flabbergasted if all of a sudden Akers had 5 to 10 touches tonight? I wouldn't be. I don't expect it, but they drafted him relatively high for a reason. But as things stand right now, look for Brown to be the number 2 guy. So where this might work is if you see the game differently than I do, differently than the people who made this one a 6-point deficit. If you think like the Rams play poorly and Chicago gets the lead, Malcolm Brown is still a little bit more of the pass-catching running back. And he's no scrub. He's not terrible or anything like that. So if the Bears were to get a 2-touchdown lead, which is not what I expect, but it's not outside the crazy realm of possibility, then look for Brown to see a few more points in the PPR game. There's also what happened last night. So I had Carlos Hyde in my Showdown lineup for last night. Obviously, that worked out well when Chris Carson went down, and you never want to call for an injury, but they're coming fast and furious in the NFL this year. Now, I would never make a backup running back play, expecting an injury. But how many games have we already seen already this year where number one running back goes out for a quarter or the rest of the game and the backup comes in and gets a lot of extra points? Like, that's where, like, it's not crazy to think that that happens. So you have that in your back pocket. It's like a runner flush draw when you're playing poker. It's never what you expect, but there is another path to success right there. It's unlikely, but it does exist. So there is that. Again, though, he's really, really cheap. And if you think there's an opportunity for the Bears to get up right here, which is possible, the Bears are a good football team, then that's something that maybe you could consider. So again, I'd consider this one a GPP play, but it is out there at your disposal. Gentlemen, ladies, that's what I got for tonight. If you could, click that thumbs up button. It's always sincerely appreciated. I'm going to run some retweet contests later today. Again, for today and today alone, $49 for the rest of the year, the NFL package. It's the best deal you're going to get. Just excited about the big day we had yesterday, so hopefully we can spread the love a little bit. Have a great Monday, and best of luck this evening.